Have you ever felt fear when God impressed upon your mind or heart something that He wanted you to do? Stay tuned because today we're going to talk about that and how an epiphany I had from reading two parables has shifted my perspective on this completely. Are you a woman who knows God is calling you to something more, but you're unsure where to start or how to grow it into something impactful? You are not alone, and you're in the right place. Welcome to the Arise Women of God podcast, a show for Christian women who feel called to shine His light and step into their divine purpose. Each week, you'll hear stories of faithful women, both from the Bible and today, who heard God's voice and chose to say yes, even when it felt uncomfortable or uncertain to step with faith into the unknown. You'll walk away with encouragement, spiritual insight, and practical steps to follow those holy promptings in your own life. So let's arise together as women warriors of light. Let's do it God's way, God strong. Hello and welcome to another Arise Women of God podcast. I'm your host, Tamara K. And today I'm letting you take a second peek into one of our accountability groups where we have a discussion around two parables and fear and faith and preparing for the Lord's second coming. So let me share this epiphany with you, and hopefully it can change your mind and heart as well. I'm actually going to start us off with a spiritual thought this morning. I had a big epiphany this morning, and I wanted to share it with you. Kind of surprised me when I read it, because you know how that happens when you've read something like what feels like a million times, and all of a sudden you see something new, and you're like, oh, how long has that been there?
So
the truth
true.
is, it's been there the whole time, right? I was reading in Matthew chapter 25 this morning, and I was reading the parable of the talents, rereading it. And, that's where the one where the Savior gives the 5 talents, the 2 talents, and the 1 talent. And I noticed 2 things that I wanted to point out to you today. The first is that the parable right before it is the parable of the 10 virgins. And immediately following that kind of rebuke to the unwise virgins, where he says, I never knew you, he starts this second parable, which is the parable of the talents. And of course, we know that the 5 doubled it, the 2 doubled it. They were commended for working hard and doubling their talents. And I've always looked at the one, the servant who got the 1 talent and said, why didn't he or she do something with that? Why didn't they? And this time I was reading, and in verse 25, simple phrase, this is why. He said, I was afraid.
Whoa.
I was afraid. And it pierced me this time, because I paused and I thought, oh my word. I remember getting that prompting to write my book and being scared to death. I remember being told to start that podcast and being scared to death.
Yep.
And having it stop me and delaying it and putting it off and all of these things. And all of a sudden it was like the Lord was saying, it's not just you who feels that fear. This is the part that I hadn't seen before, is here we are right before the second coming. We want to be wise, want to be those wise virgins, right? We want to be prepared. And one of the things he's saying, so that we're not foolish, is this second parable, I think, that he wants us to push past the fear and do something with the talents that he's given us. And it was just like this huge, oh my goodness gracious, wow. And it just kind of surprised me and humbled me all at once, because I was like, okay, I can see now that because my prayers have been, how can I prepare for the second coming? That's how can I prepare myself and my family and those around me for the second coming? And this is the answer that he gave me. Magnify your talents.
Wow.
Follow those inspirations that you're getting, because the truth is each of us is called to minister to a few or maybe a lot. It doesn't matter how many we reach, only that we act on the promptings that we get and we're not afraid, right?
Right.
Ooh, Carrie, you looks like you have a thought. Go ahead.
Just being reminded, I mean, that is the first temptation in the Garden of Eden is fear. He sets fear into their hearts. You know, they're hiding. They are afraid of God. They are hiding.
Yeah. And the answer also is faith. Faith always overcomes fear, right? And that's what helped me push through is I focused on Jesus. I focused on the people I knew he could help me reach because I remember being in their shoes not very long ago. And so I focused on, okay, this is going to make a difference for them. And God isn't going to give me something that he's not going to qualify me or open the right door for me so that I can go. He's going to open the way. And that's what that faith is. God will make anything I feel is impossible because I feel I don't have the skills. He'll make it possible.
I wanted to share something with you. I don't know if have any of you ever seen a talent?
No.
A talent is an actual. We would call it a coin. Only it's not. It is as big as a dishwasher.
Oh, what?
Really?
A talent is huge and heavy. We saw these in the museum in Turkey. We saw an actual talent that they had dug up. And it might weigh 2,000 pounds. I don't know.
Oh, wow. I had no idea.
It's huge. I know. And so when you just think about this parable, you think first that whatever the Lord gives us, it's huge. He gives us, it isn't like just a little, oh, look, I have a gold coin. You know, how special. It's more than that. And secondly, what must it have taken to hide it?
Oh.
It would take a lot of effort to hide something that big. He said he had to bury it. But I mean, he's going to have to dig out a 6x6 grave to do it. Anyway, I just thought I would share that with you because we were so gobsmacked. We were just like, oh my gosh, that's a talent. Oh my gosh.
I know. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that insight, Karma. Because I've always pictured talents as little coins, right?
That's
so
right.
Huge.
Exactly. Well, that's what we thought. We thought, oh, we're going to get some talent. I bet it's cute, you know?
That's amazing. Awesome. Any thoughts you want to share, Wendy?
I think fear comes from Satan, and to cast it out quickly. Fear doesn't come from the Lord. So it's interesting that it would be, you know, in the scripture that immediately he would have been tempted with fear from the adversary instead of the strength of the Lord from whom he was, you know, standing in his presence. So I think it's good for us to remember that we need to stand in the presence of the Lord and gain all of the faith and the strength that we need from him and in his presence to remember who we are, to be able to face any of those fears that might come from the adversary, which is a temptation.
Yeah. Well, and I think it kind of goes back to that. You've heard the parable of, it's a Native American parable about the two wolves, and that they're constantly battling each other. And the grandchild asks his grandfather, well, which one wins this battle? And that they're constantly battling for me. And the grandfather wisely says, whichever one you feed. And so that becomes something that we need to remind ourselves. If we want to conquer the fear that holds us back from stepping into whatever divine calling God is placing on our hearts, then we need to feed our faith and not feed the fear. And I'm not saying you're not going to feel fear, because hello, it's part of the process when God places something on your heart. It's scary to step up and step out and write a book or start a podcast or blog or speak or whatever it is he's calling you to do. It's hard to step up and do that. But at the same time, if you feed the faith, God is going to open the right doors. If you feed the fear, you're going to stay stuck. And sometimes there's other things that keep us stuck. Sometimes we have to overcome some past trauma. So we've got to journal about it or talk to a counselor about it so that we can move forward, because there are a lot of things that can hold us stuck in fear. And so it requires work. It requires work to move forward. And so sometimes you have to it's like stepping through these, almost a minefield. You kind of have to figure out, okay, how do I navigate this? But the good thing is God knows. God knows the perfect path for each of us, and he'll inspire us what to do.
Well, and there's that saying that where your mind goes, your energy flows. And so if you're putting a lot of your energy and time and effort into fear, and those fears, they're going to definitely hold you back. But if you put your mind and effort into, I may be scared, but I'm going to try and have faith that the Lord will bless me, and put my energy there, you're going to see the payback. You're going to find that you're strengthened and uplifted through even if you don't know what you're doing, right? Even if you have no clue exactly what you're doing, but you keep putting energy into, this is what I'm creating, and I'm trying to create, and I'm going to have faith in God as I create this, and that he's going to help me every step of the way, and keep him at the forefront, you'll get there.
I think the theme for today is forward with faith. That no matter what obstacles come our way, that we're going to move forward with faith. And we're going to keep pressing forward and not let fear stop us. We're not going to let the adversary slow us down. And if we get distracted, you know what? Guess what? You're normal. You're normal if you get distracted, and just realize that God is with us. He knows how long this process is going to take for us, because he knows us perfectly and individually. So don't get discouraged with yourself. Work with him through the process, and it will all turn out all right in the end.
Thanks for tuning in to the Arise Women of God podcast, brought to you by Women Warriors of Light. If you're feeling unsure how to move forward in your calling, or just tired of doing it alone, visit womenwarriorsoflight.com. You'll find resources, accountability, and a community of women who get it. Sometimes the calling feels bigger than you. That's when you need steady reminders of the powerful God who called you. Subscribe now for weekly inspiration and the courage to keep going, because with him, nothing is impossible. And you're not the only one God is calling. That friend on your heart right now, share this episode with her. Your small act of obedience could be the breakthrough she's been praying for. Until next time, may you arise, walk God's way, and stand God strong.